Good Tuesday morning. Welcome to Millionaire Mindset Book Club. Due to the holiday and a little bit of laziness, I got behind. Right? I got behind on the book club and some other stuff. But anyway, we're going to double up. I still want to get finished this week with No Limits by John Maxwell, so that on Monday of next week, December 4th, we will start. I forget what I told you. I see it in my head. Phooey. It'll come to me. So today, chapter 14 and chapter 15 of No Limits by John Maxwell. Chapter 14 is intentionality, your intentionality capacity, right? Which is your choice to deliberately pursue significance. And then chapter 15, your attitude capacity, your choice to be positive regardless of the circumstances. So intentionality, John Maxwell wrote another book called Intentional Living. And he talks about being intentional with your personal growth, right? Being intentional with your personal growth, being intentional with saying, you know what, I'm going to help these people, this class of people, this industry, this occupation, whatever it is, I'm going to help these people to be successful, right? Where are my superpowers? Where do my superpowers lie, right? And how can I use those to make other people's lives better? So he said after he wrote the book Intentional Living, he started teaching extensively on the subject, and that's where he got the idea of uphill dreams and downhill dreams. Remember, everything of significance is, what did he say at the beginning of the book? Uphill, right? In chapter 8, he talked about that. He also talked about intentional living, right? And drilled that down and condensed it down into three different things, right? Three different characteristics. Number one, be deliberate, right? Make a decision. This is what I'm going to do, and do it, right? This is what I'm going to do. Life is not a dress rehearsal. There are no do-overs for days, weeks, or years that you waste, right? And time is a I want to say it's your enemy. It's not really your enemy, but it can be, right? Because if you let it go, if you just let it get away, it can be a great partner, or it can be an enemy, right? But you can't get it back, right? That's why there's no such thing as time management. In my opinion, there's no such thing as time management. All we can do is manage ourselves, right? So be deliberate. Number two, be consistent, right? I plug away at this book club, right? Day after day. And you know what happens? We finish books, right? We finish books. We get through, 12, 13 books a year when I'm consistent, but I can not do it consistently too, right? That's the premise, part of the premise of the next book, right? Which is, by the way, The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. I don't know why I was just drawing a blank. The Slight Edge. I think it's Jim Rohn that said, "What's the things that are easy to do are also easy not to do." Right? So be consistent. The second hallmark of intentional living is consistency. Whatever we do, right? This is, again, from The Slight Edge. Small things done consistently over time make big results. And then number three, be willful. Living in a life of intentionality is an act of will. You have to make yourself do it, right? You have to make yourself do it. It's something that you have to be determined to do every day. I don't know how your spirituality is. I don't know what I don't know what you think about God. Do you pray or whatever? But I just heard something about somebody was talking about praying, and you don't go, oh, please God, let me be successful. No. In the Bible, it says God gave the birds their food, right? But he didn't make them eat it, right? They had to have, they got to eat it, right? So don't pray for God to do things for you. Pray for God to give you the strength and the courage and the wisdom to do what you need to do, right? God will provide what you need. But you got to put it together. You got to pick up the pieces, right? He'll provide the tools, so you got to pick them up and use them, right? So be willful. A life of intentionality is an act of will. How much do you want to make a difference with your life, right? And you can if you're willing to fight for it, right? So there's a difference. He also talks about a difference between success and significance, right? You can be successful but not significant to anybody, right? Or you can be less than what other people might call successful and be highly significant, right? So John, he talks about getting a book one year for Christmas, and the title of the book was The Greatest Story Ever Told. And when he opened it up, all the pages were blank. All the pages were blank. And there was a note inside from the person who gave him the book that said, your life is before you. Fill these pages with kind acts, good thoughts, and matters of your heart. Write a great story with your life. And he said that's the day he became intentional about his life and the story that it would tell, right? So inside the book, he wrote, Dear friend, right? The greatest story ever told can only be written by you. I want you to fill these blank pages with intentional acts of kindness that add value to people. Every day, let your words be a record of how you are making a positive difference in the lives of others. Start now and intentionally make a great story with your life. Your friend, John Maxwell, right? And so he created that journal, right? He created that journal, and inside that's what he wrote, right? And so his hope and desire is for others to live with intentionality and not only make a difference themselves, but also inspire others to strive for a life of significance, right? And he put some testimonials in here from people that got the book, right? And so he says he's already starting to hear back from people about that, right? So in order for you to be intentionally significant, right? Remember, significance is all about adding values to others, and that is an uphill journey, right? We are naturally selfish. We automatically think of ourselves first. If you don't believe it, think about when somebody takes a picture of a group of people and you're in it, and then they show it to you. Who do you look for first? You look for yourself, right? Everybody does it. It's proof that we're all selfish, right? So you have to be intentional about doing for others, right? So here's his list. Every day, add value to people, right? You should value people because they're people, right? You don't need any other reason. Human beings are human beings. They make mistakes. They say the wrong things. That doesn't make them bad people, right? So as you add value to people, every day you need to look at yourself. You need to take a hard, realistic look at yourself. I bet you could pick out one or two times when you've done silly stuff in your life, right? He says, I choose to value people based on their best moments, not on their worst ones. He believes that people have the capacity to grow and to get better. Everybody can get better, right? Every day, right? Remember, every day add value to people. Every day think of ways to add value to people. Think of new ways to add value to people. Think of ways to add value to specific people, right? Every day you've got to, so you add value, you look for value, you think about value, right? Think of ways to add value. Every day you look for ways to add value to people, right? And guess what? When you look for ways to add value, guess what you find? Find ways to add value, right? You look for ways, you think of ways, you do it, right? Every day you do things to add value to people, right? It's not enough to look for them because you'll find them, but you got to apply it, right? And then every day encourage other people to add value to people, right? Help other people to grow in that same vein, right? So his intentionality capacity questions: how do you most enjoy adding value? What could you do what could you do that you would enjoy but you haven't done yet? And when can you start? Right. Number two, how will you add value to people in the next 24 hours? Right. Try anticipating ways to add value to put that in your schedule to add value to people. Right. And then also be aware, be looking for opportunities throughout the day. Number three, who could you encourage to add value to people, and what could you do to encourage them? Right. So those are his reflection, intentional capacity questions. And then chapter 15, attitude capacity, your choice, right? Your choice to be positive, right? Your choice to be positive regardless of circumstances. Things happen. I was reading a blog by Seth Godin the other day, and he's talking about all these things that happen. Oh, why'd this happen to me? What could I, blah, blah, blah. That's one question, one set of questions, right? Oh, this happened. How did I cause it? What did I do? Blah, blah, woe is me, blah, blah, blah. And then number two was, well, that happened. Now what? Right? Now what? Now where do we go from here? Right? So, if your attitude is not good, right? Think about the process of improving your attitude, right? He says, recognize the truths first. You might want to say them aloud. I need to change, right? Change is personal. You're the only one that can do it. Number two, I'm able to change, right? It changes is personal, but it's also possible, right? A lot of other people have changed. And then number three, I will be rewarded for the change, because change is also profitable, right? Your attitude is one of the most pliable and resilient parts of you, regardless of your age, regardless of your circumstances. You can change if you want to, if you're willing to, right? Remember Jim Rohn's quote, you're not a tree, right? You don't like something, then move. You don't like where you are, move. You're not a tree. Talk to yourself. Give yourself positive encouragement, feedback. When you do something well, celebrate that. Don't celebrate it forever. Don't say, "Woo, I'm the bomb." Well, do that for a minute, right? And then get back to it, right? This is the best time when you're successful at something. It's the best time to do it again, right? Because you're pumped up and you go, "Yes, I know I can do it," right? Self-talk, right? When you think about all this always happens to me. This affects all aspects of my life, right? Positive self-talk is one of the most important tools that you have to keep a positive attitude, right? When something goes wrong, say, wow, right? You could use Seth Godin's, wow, that happened, right? John Maxwell says, wow, that didn't go the way I expected. Okay, that's not what I wanted, but I can get through this, right? I win more often than I lose. No one goes undefeated, right? Seth Godin's response was in response to he said a meteorite hits, but you think about a tornado, right? A tornado comes through, takes out your house. You can let that destroy you, or you can go, wow, that happened. Okay, now what? Thank God thank God we're alive. We're not hurt. All that other stuff, just stuff, right? We can get more stuff, right? So I can get through this, right? So what can I learn? What can I learn from what I just experienced? What do I need to do to change? Is there somebody that can help me, right? Because of this, I'm going to become better, right? Your attitude is all about behaviors of choice, right? So here's his list, right? Become humble, right? Not all of us can do great things, but we can do small things with great love. When I was doing mission work, when we were doing mission work at the church, I told, people, nobody can do everything. Nobody can do everything, but everybody can do something, right? Whether it's moral support, whether it's financial support, whether it's whatever, so nobody can do everything, but everyone can do something. So be humble. Think about what small thing can I do? Number two, become teachable. Teachability is an attitude of wanting to learn from every experience and every person. Everybody can teach you something if you're open to it, right? Number three, become resilient. bend with the wind, go with the flow, right? He said, think about being angry, right? You can be angry for a long time, right? He says, I keep very short accounts and I don't carry emotional baggage in my life, right? Be angry for a minute, let it go, right? Sometimes we can't, we control our emotions, and the only thing that can, we allow ourselves to be angry about stuff, but sometimes it happens, right? Let it happen, let it happen, but be done with it, right? Short, right? While I'm holding a grudge against somebody and nursing my hurt feelings, they're probably out dancing, right? So don't, be resilient, right? Bounce back, be happy, be sad, but don't let it overwhelm you, take over your life, right? Life is a long game, like real estate, right? So a summary of what was he talking about? A total lesson about how to maintain perspective as leaders. And this is on page 248. He just has a list of things for people that they can do to be successful. Or what did I say? Maintain their perspective as leaders, right? Recruiting new people into your organization, right? Qualifying team members, your attitude, your conditioning, right? Going to the gym isn't necessarily about how much can I do in 30 seconds. It's about how can I create endurance, right? And capacity, right? So conditioning, be the example, set the example for others. Believe that you can do it, right? But leaders inspire other people to finish well. Be resilient. No one crosses the finish line by accident. Teamwork, right? We can do more when we work together, right? And then celebration. The more team members that cross the finish line, the greater the celebration, right? So let's see. Talk about attitude, and helping people to be happy, right? He says when you help employees to be happy, you increase your bottom line, because happy employees are 33% more profitable, or companies with happy employees are 33% more profitable. They have 43% more productivity. A happy employee will produce more, and 37% higher sales, right? They also have 300% more innovation, a 51% lower turnover rate, less safety incidents, right? 50%, 66% decrease in sick leave, and 125% less burnout, right? So delivering happiness at work is also a book, right? So you can look that up. If you're a leader, you can't afford to ignore the importance of attitude, right? Keep in mind that the world will continue to send you garbage, right? The world will continue to send you garbage. Duck, right? Get out of the way. John Maxwell says, and this is where we're finishing up. Well, we'll have our list. Years ago, I determined that attitude is a choice, right? Since that time, I haven't felt sorry for anyone who chooses to have a bad attitude. I just try to help the ones I can by encouraging to increase their attitude capacity, right? And for the people that won't change, do your best to avoid them, right? Your attitude capacity has increased. You'll know it's increased when your attitude is remaining positive, even as difficulties in your life arise, right? Things are out of our control. Why let them control our lives, right? Page 252, your attitude capacity questions. What kind of self-talk do you engage in, right? Think the little engine that could, right? I think I can. I think I can. I know I can, right? Have you ever paid attention to the self-talk that you do? If not, take some time. What can you do to make what you say to yourself more positive? Number 2, how would you score yourself in the 3 areas discussed in this chapter, right? Humility, teachability, resilience. Which of the 3 could you most readily improve? And what can you do immediately to improve it? Number 3, if there's so much evidence that having a good attitude makes people happier and more productive, why do you think people still choose to have negative attitudes? And what could you do to encourage others to choose to have more positive attitudes? So chapter 14 and 15. Tomorrow we'll do 16 and 17, your risk capacity and spiritual capacity. Right? This is No Limits by John Maxwell. My apologies for getting off track, but we'll get back on it. Slight Edge by Jeff Olson is the next book. You can find that on Amazon. The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. And we will see you tomorrow morning right here, Millionaire Mindset Book Club. Have a wonderful day. Bye.